Hi there! This is Mr. Ellison again. Thanks for coming out for another episode of Mr. Ellison's Math Minute. Now today what we're going to talk about is math, multiplying decimals. Okay, now we're going to go back to a little bit of basic arithmetic and talk about multiplication. Now, when you multiply one number to another number, you get an answer, okay? And that answer is called a product. Now that works the same whether you're multiplying whole numbers or whether you're multiplying decimals. Now one thing that I've talked about in the past is with decimal placement, okay? Now when you're dealing with decimals, decimal places always matter, okay? They always matter. And I like to use this example with my class. So let's just say Mr. Ellison, he trudges over and he walks up to his new job, and he's going to work in a paint factory, okay? He signed up, applied to work in a paint factory, and he gets paid $5 an hour, and I work for 8 hours a day. Now let's just say at the end of the day they give paychecks out to all their employees, and I go up to the line to get my paycheck, and I should be getting $40, okay? But they give me my paycheck, and it's got a 4 and a decimal and 0 to 0. I get like $4. Alright, now if I don't understand my decimal placement, and I don't understand how much it matters, the business that I work for is going to cheat me out of, how much? $36. What a rip! So, it's important to know, when you're working with decimals, think about money. You want to be precise. You want to put that decimal in the right place. Now, whenever you're dealing with adding and subtracting decimals, you want to make sure that the decimals are lined up, and you want to work the problem out top to bottom within the place values, okay? And the decimal matters, and you want to keep the decimal lined up. You want to keep those numbers lined up when you add. But when you multiply, you still do the same operations you do whenever you're multiplying. You still do your arithmetic and your multiplication, but then the decimal placement doesn't matter until you're done, until you get an answer. And then you put the decimals where you want, okay? Now, it's an important thing to know that when you are doing multiplying decimals, at the onset of the problem, starting the problem and working it, the decimal placement doesn't matter, okay? It's not going to affect your answer until the end. So what I like to do is I don't even like to think about those decimals, all right? I don't even like to think about them. I don't even like to worry about them. But what I do is I have my students look behind the decimal. How many numbers are behind the decimal in our problem? And that's what we're going to do. And we're going to circle those. I have my students circle those digits behind the decimal. Okay? How many digits do we have in our problem? 6.3 times 1.5. Now behind our first decimal, we have one digit. I'm going to circle it. We have one digit behind the decimal. And in our second number, we have one digit behind the decimal. Now in our answer should have the same number of digits behind the decimal as our problem, okay? So if our problem has 2 digits behind the decimal in it, there should be 2 digits behind the decimal in our answer. Now let's go ahead and get started, okay? Now let's look at our problem. We've got 6.3 times 1.5. Now we're going to multiply 5 times 3, and it's going to give us 15. So we're going to drop our 5 down here, and we're going to carry our 1. And then we're going to do 5 times 6, that's 30. But then we want to add that 1, okay? And it's going to give us 31. 31. Now, we're going to put our little placeholder down here. It's very important. Don't forget the placeholder. Alright? And what we're going to do is we're going to start off with our 1. Alright? And we have 1 times 3. And it gives us 3. And then we have 1 times 6 gives us 6. Now, we're not going to worry about the decimals just yet. We want to add and get all of our numbers situated, okay? Now let's add 5 plus 0, and it gives us 5. And then we're going to add 1 plus 3, and it gives us 4. And then we add 3 plus 6, and it gives us 9. Now remember what I said. We have 2 digits behind the decimal in our problem, so now we have to find 2 digits in our answer to put behind the decimal place. Now let's look. We have our 4 and our 5, okay? those are 2 digits. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our decimal and we're going to make sure we have 2 digits behind that decimal, okay? And it'll be 9.45. And we're going to box our answer. Always box the answer. Makes it a lot easier on your teacher when they're grading your work. Now we're going to go and we're going to do the next problem, okay? And it's going to be 7.45 times 0.51. Now let's look at how many numbers are behind the decimal in our problem. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, and there's 4. There's 4 numbers behind the decimal. So there has to be 4 numbers behind the decimal in our answer. Now let's check. Let's do our arithmetic. Let's do our multiplication. And then add and put our decimals. Okay? Now, 5 times 1 is 5. And then you have 1 times 4 is 4. And 1 times 7 is 7. Now, we're going to put a 0 here for a placeholder. We're going to multiply 5 times 5, and that's 25. So we're going to put our 5 down here, and we're going to carry that 2 up at the top. And it's going to be 5 times 4, and that's 20. And let's add 2 to it. So it's 22. So we got our 2 down here, and we're going to add 2 to the top here. We're going to carry our 2. Now, we have 5 times 7 is 35. Now 35 plus 2 gives us 37. Now we're going to put our little bar here, and we're going to add these numbers together. We have 5 plus 0 is 5. 4 plus 5 is 9. 7 plus 2 is 9. And then we bring down our 7 and our 3. Now we're supposed to have 4 numbers behind the decimal in our answer because we have 4 numbers behind the decimal in our problem. So we're going to start here. We're going to go 1 number behind the decimal, 2 numbers behind the decimal, 3 numbers behind the decimal, and ta-da! 4 numbers behind the decimal. And we're going to put our decimal point there, and we get the grand old number of 3.7995. See, multiplying decimals is simple. All you have to do is just keep in mind the same rules for multiplication, but be mindful of how many numbers are behind the decimal so that you can put the right amount of numbers behind the decimal in your answer. That's it. Now, if this has been, please let me know. If this lesson has been helpful to you, please get on my blog, comment, let me know. I'm always trying to make better videos and make videos that are easier to understand and give you little tricks and pointers on how to solve these problems efficiently. Okay? And if you want to get in touch with me, or you want to email me or send me something, go to my blog. And my blog address is MrEllisonSassic.blogspot.com. And it's just Mr. Ellison Sassic.blogspot.com. And you can make comments, you can view my other videos and things like that. And just let me know what you think. I'd like to thank you for coming out and taking the time to view my video. And I hope you have a wonderful day. And I hope you have a wonderful experience in whatever math you're doing. And if there's anything I can ever do to help, just let me know. Have a wonderful day. Bye.